Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of The Deep Deep. I'm Estrella Taylor, the Llewellyn author of Intuitive Witchcraft and the forthcoming book, Inspiring Creativity Through Magic. This podcast is all about bringing awareness, insights, magic, and romance of the other world to your everyday life. I wanted to start this podcast off with a series of the top realizations I had in the past year because they're so fresh and quite powerful. As this podcast goes on, I'll bring even newer insights to you with all the excitements and thoughts that come with them. Today, for the first episode, I want to talk about the biggest lesson I learned in the past year by far, and that is to lean into what's calling you and change course away from whatever makes you feel icky. Now, this is a deceptively simple statement that actually has all kinds of depth. So it's the perfect thing to rip apart like a hungry vulture. You ready? Okay, let's go. So first of all, let's talk about lean into what's calling you. We get all kinds of messages and callings every day, all kinds of thoughts like, I want to move to Canada. I want to quit my job and start a clothing business that specializes in fantasy gear. Or I want to take this magical course. I want to try therapy. I want to become an astrologer. I want to write an opera with the sounds of nature. And these are all great ideas. They're wonderful. They're so creative and imaginative. And the impulses, like when we get these, they can tell us a lot about where we want to go in our lives. Like, what's calling you? Take a moment to just think about, like, what's been calling you lately? Is it something that's creative, spiritual, physical, emotional? Whatever it is, it's likely that you need growth in that area of your life and you're ready for it. And you'll know something's calling you because you'll think about it a lot. You may get ideas or insights about it, especially during liminal times like when you're in the shower or when you're drifting off to sleep. Or maybe you'll hear a song while you're walking or driving and you'll get some kind of magical information or a download that's deeply relevant to you. A lot of people describe the feeling as an expansive warmth in their hearts or their bellies, or like their mind is just sparkling with ideas. And that's pure excitement, and that's wonderful. Oftentimes when inspiration or the other world calls to us, it means we're ready for this new stage in our lives. We've done some foundational emotional work to build up that foundational concrete readiness. And then we've laid the metaphorical concrete so we can actually build something real on top of it. And one of the things that I love about hearing these callings is that a lot of people experience some kind of attraction to whatever is calling them. There's this kind of interaction with you and this idea or thought or calling or whatever it is. And it's like a dance in a way. You take a step toward it and it takes a step toward you. You do a small deep dive to research it and it'll show you even more ideas of what it could be. However, I will admit that sometimes what's calling us will change into something else. And other times the calling doesn't stick around at all. It's just a fleeting thought or just a passing fancy. And as my mom would say, that's okay. I feel like all of these callings are worth exploring as long as they remain interesting to us, just to see if there could be something deeper. And I know that takes a bit of bravery to leap into that new world, as well as some vulnerability to be a beginner at something and some free time to explore those ideas. But I highly encourage this kind of exploration. That's how I got into all of my magical practices, my meditation, my path of spiritual and emotional evolution, being a fire dancer, being a writer, doing this podcast even, and so forth. So if you're hearing a calling, it's likely that there's some need for that out in the world. When you get these ideas, I encourage you to take note of them. You can make a voice recording, open a notebook and scribble down your thoughts, hopefully legibly. Or you can open the Notes app and get that info down somehow. Because often these ideas are ephemeral and they don't stick around, especially when we have to shift gears and be part of the world and contribute in some meaningful way, or take that right turn to get on the right path, and that, literally. So take note of them. Even if you don't think you might use it right away, it's a good idea. Okay, so that is the first part, leaning into what's calling you. I found that was really significant to me because I needed to really support myself in that way. So I encourage you to support yourself in that way as well. Like, you can go for your dreams and you're worth it. The second part of this is to change course when you encounter an icky feeling. And another personal story, from this past year, I've encountered several icky feelings and I didn't go with my gut. I felt them in my gut and I didn't go with my gut, and I have regrets. So this is me telling you that it's okay to change course when you feel that. And actually, I think it's the better solution. So, like I said, that icky feeling, you often feel it in the gut, the home of the intuition. If you've tapped into intuition, you know that feeling. It's like a pit in your stomach. It's like some kind of dread, or the desire to have boundaries, or to tell someone no, or to tell someone how it's going to be. Desire to put up energy bubbles or to wear energy cloaks, and the desire to run away or quit. And these are very real feelings. And if you experience these, it's your mind's way or your body's way to tell you that you don't like something about it and that you should stop doing it. And sometimes this is easy. Like, we don't have to be friends with that person who crossed our boundaries, or we can distance ourselves and have, make sure that we have good boundaries between us and them. We can decline invitations or back out of some kind of an agreement, possibly, even if we accepted it in the past. We can look for another job. What I want to say is we can take another path. We have the power to make that change. I think limiting interactions with those things whenever possible is smarter, while at the same time looking for an alternate path that aligns more with our values and our hopes and dreams. So if you do have to put up with something while you find your calling, make magical boundaries against whatever causes you harm. Get protection against that. Wear that protective gemstone or that protective oil. Do the shadow work for yourself or a society so you know why this happened. And, you can also forgive yourself if you made any bad decisions in the past. But please know that anything icky that you feel doesn't have to hold you back. I also need to say that it's possible that something may not have been icky in the past, but if it feels icky now, that's okay. That change is okay. I want to honor your feelings and stand up for your intuition here, because I think a lot of times we just let things slide. But, you're not defined by your past, but by your choices in the present moment. So if you encounter ick, here's what I encourage you to do. First, I want you to pause. Whatever is happening, don't just let it keep going. Pause. You may have to just say, I'm going to go to the bathroom or whatever, just for a moment. Or if you can get away, do that. And then after you pause, just recognize that you're having these feelings. You're feeling some kind of ick. And then just breathe and ground yourself in your body, if that's safe for you to do. And listen to what your body is telling you. If you've internalized some of the ick, if you're already starting to rationalize it in your brain, I want you to externalize it. So imagine that it's an energy cloud outside of your body and you're looking at it. If you can't imagine that, just look at the trash can and say, okay, there's the ick. And Then I want you to just center yourself and align yourself in your body by filling up all the space in your body. And then at this point, you can either make a decision about what you want to do with this icky feeling, like I'm going to tell them no, I'm going to tell them I'm going to decide later, I'm going to tell them I'm going to get back to them, I'm going to quit this job right now, or I'm going to just try to find another job, whatever decision you want to make. And then I encourage you to journal about it, or talk with a therapist, or talk with a trusted friend, so you can close the loop on that process, get some reflection, get some kind of ending, so you can reach the next level where you can feel more empowered. This practice can really help you become more present when something weird comes up, so you can pause and recognize those feelings instead of just pretending that things are okay. It is okay for things to not be okay. And it's worth taking the time to be there for yourself. This is what course correction is all about. And if you're not in a safe situation, by all means, play it safe for now and do the work when you can. There's no rush. It'll be waiting for you whenever you can get to it. So, I know that was a lot. This is called the Deep Deep for a reason. But yeah, I want to end this episode by saying that you're worth it. And I hope this is a reminder for you. And I hope that you know this deep inside. Your desires are worth pursuing, and you're worthy of having enriching experiences in your life. So I hope this inspired you and encouraged you to live authentically. Thanks for listening to the Deep Deep. Until next time.